Hi everyone, so I will be doing my presentation for my research method part 2. The proposed title of my studies will be Women Academics and Higher Education Leadership in Hong Kong, which is a case study of 2 faculties in the University of Hong Kong. As the first part of this presentation, I will briefly talk about the context of these studies. In general, the notions of feminization are referring to significant increase in the number of women in which they outnumber their male counterparts in a particular area or field. Given the expansion of opportunities for women in access to higher education, the feminization in the case of higher education in Hong Kong is more apparent than before, as the number of enrollment of female students in full-time undergraduate and top postgraduate programs is increasing, even though there are more male students enrolled in research postgraduate program. However, despite the feminization of the academy with regards to high participation rate of female students, women academics, especially professors or chair professors, are not in a majority, and men are still dominant in most of the senior positions in the university in Hong Kong. Hence, the pipeline theory that states the absence of women from senior positions because of the lack of qualified women fails to match with the context of Hong Kong, where in general women have considerable access and success in higher education. Also, given the increasing opportunity for female students to access to the university in Hong Kong and the growing participation of women in the employment of corporate and public sector, women were still absent from senior management and leadership positions in higher education sector, where currently there is no female vice-chancellors in any 8 university grants committee funded institution. Looking at the case of the University of Hong Kong, there are no female vice-chancellor in Hong Kong U after the handover of sovereignty. Currently, there are no female pro-vice-chancellor and no woman holding a deanship in any 10 faculties. Text it, women academics are significantly underrepresented in the academy's leadership role in this context. Next, I will talk about the sample. Because of the constraints on time and accessibility to the potential sample participants, the proposed sample size will be relatively smaller. I propose to get 10 participants from 2 faculties in the University of Hong Kong, namely the Faculty of Education and Lee Ka-shing Faculty of Medicine, with 5 participants from each of the faculty. As the problem of gender inequality is apparent from the initial stage of career to promotion stage for women academics, the sample will not be constrained to only senior women academics that are currently holding a leadership position, but to a certain extent include junior women academics that are in a critical stage that decides their career progression in the academy. Next, I will briefly talk about the background of management team for both of the faculties. With regards to associate deans, assistant deans, and departmental heads or directors for 20 departments and schools, we can see that it is clear that women academics are significantly underrepresented in the management team of the Faculty of Medicine. What raised my concern is the issues of applied research leadership, because among 18 research centers, institutes, and units, there are only 2 female directors as opposed to 18 male directors. This is quite important because research was seen as one of the important elements in deciding academics' career progress in the academy. Looking at the Faculty of Education, we can see there are more women academics in the management team. However, similar to the Faculty of Medicine, among 8 research centers, there are only 2 female directors as opposed to 6 male directors. Next, I would like to provide a justification of why Faculty of Education and Faculty of Medicine were chosen as my sample. Both disciplines have always been considered as an attractive field for women because of their focus are considered as a greater interest to women. It is also because the research methodologies and technologies they use are more easily managed by women. However, if this was the case, the underrepresentation of women in the research leadership for both of the faculties are questionable in need. Well, because of the socially embedded expectations that women make a better teachers, the Faculty of Education comprises the area of inquiry in language and humanities, such as English language education, psychology, and sociology. There's a tacit understanding that it considered as a field that favors women academics. While the Faculty of Medicine provides an interesting context because natural sciences are discipline that is conventionally dominated by male. It is a norm that female encounter a series of challenges to progress within this discipline and hence appear to be less attractive to women due to its high dependency on abstract concepts and objectivity. In fact, women are now achieving gender parity in enrollments as students in this field. However, the commensurate status of women faculty is even more problematic for this field. What I am concerning is that if health sciences considered as a field that favors the woman, why is it so difficult for the women academics in this field to progress in the academy in our context? While from both of the faculties, there are a number of issues that I would like to consider. The first one is the leadership in teaching. Well, as we can see, there are more women engaged with leadership in teaching, such as by holding positions like departmental head and head of school in both of the faculties. It could be the case that there's a socially embedded expectations that women make a better teachers. Well, the second issue is the leadership in research that we can see that women academics are significantly underrepresented in the leadership in research with respect to the positions such as the director of applied research centers, institutes, and units. Well, it is important to note that research is one of the very important elements that associated with the prestige economy in higher education. So women academics significantly underrepresented in this area could be a very severe issues with respect to their progression in the academy. The third issue is the leadership in management. We can see that women academics are quite represented in the Faculty of Education by holding positions like assistant deans and associate deans. However, with respect to the Faculty of Medicine, we can see that women academics are underrepresented. So this is the issues that I would like to look into. Next, I will talk about the unit of analysis. Well, since I'm dealing with the issues related to women academics, so my unit of analysis will be researching academic work. It is very important for us to note that understanding the academic work is actually equivalent important to understanding the whole higher education system because academics they seem to be the human capital in the higher education who perform the teaching, research, and services activities. Regarding of research on women academics, it strives to remodel the academic landscape in a more female-friendly form by addressing the issues related to the positions and experience of women in the higher education and inequality career prospects compared to their male counterparts. Well, since my focuses will be two faculties in the University of Hong Kong, so my level of analysis will rather be faculty and departmental level. It is institution representation of the discipline and profession. However, with regards to the level of analysis based on faculty and departmental level, there could be issues to do with power and access since most of my participants are women academics who have considerable reputation in the academia. So now I will be talking the major variables that I will be analyze and investigate. Well, this proposed research aims to explore further on the issues of women's absence from senior managerial role in the academy in the context of Hong Kong U, particularly the Faculty of Education and Lee Ka-shing Faculty of Medicine. Well, more specifically, it aims to examine the following questions. What are the reasons or barriers that may hinder women academics from achieving senior managerial positions in the faculty or to a certain extent in the academy, for example, Hong Kong U? What are the enablers that will help women academics to progress in the faculty and subsequently take up the leadership roles? Well, with the third aspects and variables, I would like to consider what are the distinctive qualities that women leaders possess and hence contribute to and benefit their institution. While referring to three of my research questions, I would like to consider several major variables in my research. The first one is the tension between teaching and research in the prestige economy of higher education, whether women academics they engage with more teaching or research activities. The second one is the issues of leadership as a choice. Whether is it choice of women academics to take up leadership roles in higher education. And the next issues is the cultural mindset issues, which related to the Chinese culture and the notion of first sex. Next, I would also like to consider whether women academics they receive sufficient support and mentor in the academy that subsequently allows them to progress as leaders in higher education. There could be a case that there's conflict between their decisions to start a family and to progress in the academy, as we know that the academic profession is a very greedy and demanding profession. The last issues that I would like to consider is the competition from corporate and private sector. It could be the case that female graduates they decide not to go further in the sense that further their studies to progress in the academy. Instead, they want to join the corporate and private sector. Next, I will discuss the tentative interview questions and the interview protocol. Well, so here are my tentative interview questions with three sections. The first sections will be focusing on the reasons or barriers that may hinder or prevent women academics from achieving leadership positions in their respective faculty or institution. The second section will be focusing on the enablers that will help the women academics to progress in the faculty and subsequently take up the leadership roles. The first sections will be considering the distinctive qualities and contribution of women leaders towards the higher education system as a whole. Well, so now I will be discussing the interview protocol. Well, I will be conducting a semi-structured interview that strives to get a distinctive individual career stories from each of the participants. Well, in ensuring the reliability and consistency of the results, the same wordings and question sequences will be employed to make sure every interviewee undergoes the same interview process. Whenever appropriate, additional question will be added. Well, further explanation and clarification are necessary whenever there's opaque understanding between interviewer and interviewees in order to obtain valid and accurate response. Transcripts of interviews will be sent to interviewees for review and to make corrections whenever there are misinterpretations of the response or mistakes in order to ensure greater validity of the research outcomes. Well, as the last part of this presentation, I'm going to talk about the contribution to literature and the policy of professional communities. Well, the case studies on the women academics in Hong Kong U is considered to be an interesting context because it combines the Chinese culture with the issues of feminism in the context of higher education, as there is not much existing literature or studies on this area. It is also because of the gender issues in higher education is understudied in this context. Well, apart from that, it is also strive to raise the awareness and attention of various stakeholders in higher education with regards to the gender issues, and also strive to explain why we need more women leaders in higher education.